Good morning. Oh, good morning. We start with Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga from the small booklet. From the heart of the Savior of 100 deities of Tushita, on a peak of cloud resembling a cloud of extremely white fresh curd, King of Dharma, omniscient Losandrapa, please come here together with your sons. In the sky before me, on a lion throne, lotus and moon, my perfect pure Guru smiles with delight. Supreme field of merit for my mind of faith, please abide for 100 yawns to spread the teachings. Your holy mind has the intelligence that understands the full extent of objects to be known. Your holy speech with its excellent explanations is an ear ornament for those of good fortune. Your holy body is radiantly beautiful with glory renowned. To you who are meaningful to see, hear, and remember, I prostrate. Please in drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incenses, lice, scented waters, and so forth. Oceans of cloud-like offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated, I offer to you the supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtue of body, speech, and mind, especially those opposite to the three vows that I have collected from beginningless time, I confess each and every one with fervent regret from my heart. You strove for much learning and practice in this degenerate age, and made your freedoms and richnesses meaningful by abandoning the eight worldly concerns. Savior, we sincerely rejoice in your extensive deeds. Perfect, pure, holy Gurus, from the billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion in the sky of Dharmakaya, please let fall a rain of profound and extensive Dharma upon the receptacle of those to be subdued, exactly as they need. May whatever virtue I have collected benefit the teachings and all transmigratory beings, and in particular may it cause the essence of perfect pure Losandrapa's teachings to shine forever. Sajiv ki Chushi meto Tramri Rablishi Nidegem Padi Sangeshindu Miteua Irokunanda Shila Chupashu. By the merits of having offered this mandala to Lama Tsongkhapa and his two sons, may I, my family members, and all sentient beings be able to meet, practice, and actualize the teachings of victorious one Losandrapa, who had a morality of eminently pure way of life, was courageous in the extensive conduct of the sons of the victorious ones, and accomplished the yoga of two stages of supreme bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. By the force of having fervently requested in this way, hollow beams of white light are emitted from the hearts of the perfect pure Father and Sons, and combining into one, enter my crown. White nectar, the color of milk, flows from the opening of tube of white light, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas, obscurations, and their imprints without exception. my body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. Now we recite 5-line Miktsema on page 8, 3 times. Mikme tsewe ten chen chen rezik, drime gempe wampo jampe liang, dupo malu jonze sawenda, ganchen gebe tsungen tsongkapa, lo sandrape shabla sowade. Mikme tsewe ten chen chen rezik, drime gempe wampo jampe liang, dupo malu jonze saweda, Ganchen gepe tsungen tsongkapa, lo sandrape shabla sowade. Mikme tsewe ten chen chen rezik, drime gempe wampo jampe liang, dupo malu jonze sawenda, ganchen gepe tsungen tsongkapa, lo sandrape shabla sowade. And a prayer for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Losang father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings. Through explanation and practice, you wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable Venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for mother living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss! Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels, and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in a glory for fortunate disciples.
Chondomla Chamchu Pardu Dani Kyapsun Chi Dagi Chushi Jibanda Dagi Cholam Penshi Sanjin Drubar Sho Sanji Chodam Sojin Chondomla Chamchu Pardu Dani Kyapsun Chi Dagi Chushi Jibanda Dagi Cholam Penshi Sanjin Drubar Sho Sanji Chodam Sojin Cholumla Chanchu Pardu Dani Kyapsun Dagi Chushi Jebanda Dagi Drolam Pensh Sanji Drubar Sho Kangi Tuzi Nizone Tawa Tamchi Pambichir Tambichun Dunze Kodam Tela Chantse Lo Namo Laye Kedan Lodan Lojeke Chuban Dada Mi Kenan Dro Kunji Danam Chizamba Tamji Kedu Dagi Chuden Do. Good morning, everyone. Long time no see. So what did it? Good.
Shobe dile Gisela Goda.
Yeah.
Shobe. Is there a Chungshu? There's a small young child up the bed there.
Your name?
What is your name?
Jet? Yeah. Very special boy. He very love to Dharma, Buddha Dharma Sangha, yes? Yeah. Last January, he took refugee vows. Yeah. I have give to you this bell and dorji in my house. Last time I say I give to you and I forgot. Maybe after teaching, I ask my attendant and pick up and regular KP. Yeah, you're welcome. Very special, very special. How old are you? 13, yeah, 13. Yeah, I'm 30 years old. I came monk.
At 13 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. Mongba nge keranz ke nganz ke chik thone keranz la ya chik and ngarang kangshi bati ngotre chia kogob ji sharna peki uyasares. Kasi translator dugjares lag me das ke you dugjares. Sorry.
Let's. So Geshe wishes in the future that he would like to give an introduction in one voice, so to speak, but in English. Yeah, not saying that the translator is bad, but Geshe would like to take the opportunity to give an introduction in English.
But many people say but Geshe I like but Geshe this is good but I remember this. Geshe your idea is wonderful but said this. And then it's yeah, but it's very hard languages, yeah,
Yeah.
very hard. There tanganzo zapasangi zendetita ngotsu yungores nitong nishsabshi tinza the namgi nganzo zapasandang sanyimala and zendeti chogyores tadalo nganzo di jewo javni the zapasand the pishe manchare and every week Friday they have teaching up but no Sunday, yeah. Sunday nganzu kabkala donda shiva kabkala donda ngawa sometime fourth weekend sometime fifth weekend course, yeah. And then it's over is ra.
So we've started our classes for the Friday classes. We've commenced them for 2024. Yeah. So in general, we have classes every Friday, but we also have the occasional class on Sunday as well. Yeah. But we can see that moving forward in 2024, we will have a weekend course every fourth or sometimes every fifth weekend. Nasula.
Tinza nganzu penachinda sumbigi donda shivi weekend course la ani chanju sambigi dombe kola ya deshi kyares. Nganzu patient zinda ani nimaril yan zinda ngari chogo yasares ro. Dinza an kyanso tutsu yawaina ani nyamshuk che tuba na tetuzu kechen burwas ro. Nganzu mang che di ani namba chegi yore. Ani namba diyan chik teba chimbyugi nambi chue chegi yore. Teba chimbyugi nambi chue chewondi ani pena chanju simbi domba lenya la soba ani sanga ga domba lenya la soba yungu yorwas. Dinza ta teba chimbyugi pigi ta zo di ani chanju sem kiye derwas ro. Ta chanju sem nani ta memba sem kiye tsammayin ba jugba sem kiye wondi chanju simbi domba lengo gores. chanju simbi domba lenya chanju simbi domba labshat ma somba ina tumdis ke tyong marawas chanju sembi dombe labja songyala songbala chanju sembi dombe labja kan yobati ani shingo grawas ro tinza ani nganzu chinda sembi gi weekend course la ani chanju sembi dombe gi labja kolaya ani the Geshe shuenza karen tuzu kombai no 단단한 labsha wana ani karen tuzu tenya da ani tsama keba yungro asra tan dichi dela leyo samma se pige tachi ani rikchi ki ani tona chenbu tone nganzo onglang gyuni nyingi yoros ani karen so suim baina ro ditu sharo chis
That's it. The nimarere any tiwadi sugibe.
nima ririlan zendanga
Sindan 5.
yeah chuhang masa 5
Zinda
sessions each
5
day.
sessions.
Yeah.
Re
Yeah.
shoge gonda.
Yeah, chuzo gubanin go tsuguyase 5 sessions. Yeah.
Okay, listen, just clarifying that. So Geshe would like to mention that this month, on the last weekend of this month, will be a explanation on the bodhisattva vows. So both of those days will consist of 5 different sessions, yeah? And if you have time, then it'll be very beneficial to attend these sessions, particularly if you consider yourself as a Buddhist, but also specifically if you consider yourself a Mahayanist or a practitioner of the great vehicle, yeah? So Geshe will give an explanation on the vows, but also in particular the advices that are related to those bodhisattva vows. So in general, there are the bodhisattva vows, but also the mantra or the secret tantric vows. But in particular, when we speak in terms of the Mahayana vehicle, this is mainly consisting of the mind of enlightenment or the mind of bodhicitta. So we're not only thinking in terms of an aspiration, but we also need to take the vows that are in accordance with the engaging bodhicitta. So, but if we do not understand and if we do not put into practice the associated advice to these bodhisattva vows, then we're not going to be seeing any particular results. So we need to understand what the associated advice is for the bodhisattva vows. Yeah. So this will be explained later this month in March over the course of these 2 days. And if you have the free time, then Geshe will be presenting this this topic. So some of you are already familiar and do certain practices that are associated with the bodhisattva vows. So if one has the free time, then please keep this opportunity in mind. Hasula.
예, 자위기 연구로 왔을 단다 아니 캡다치 어레스 비시 참전은 간주 나와지라 둔당 시열 참전은 둔당 간도 아니 진짜 숨바들 둔당 가 여바나 위겐 코스 둔다 시바들 차그레스
So sometimes during the advertisement phase of these events, then it may vary from month to month because there may be 5 weekends or 4 weekends. But we think in this case of this month, March, then there is on the 4th weekend.
드니 진짜 시바기 위겐 코스 셔르비니 모레스 hot sutra yeah
Yes.
셔르비니 모레스 다 간지 딩이 디페 케체 모레스로 산지 위치 님보디 tapi ta nyamning zodi tab chanju semdang 셰럽 덤바니 또 셰럽니디 아니 송르치는 냠슬래야디 다 산지 추 님부터 차거레스 로 유연하면은 차거레스 딘자 아니 딩이 자유 취해서만 계셔본다 딩이 아니 오늘 계셔버레스 로
So the next month in April will be an explanation on the Heart Sutra. So these two, the Bodhisattva vows and the Heart Sutra, are really very important. It really makes up the essence of what the Buddha's teachings consist of. Yeah. So in general, the method is the mind of enlightenment of bodhicitta, and the wisdom side is the explanation that the Heart Sutra is providing. Yeah. So if we're able to practice these two, the method and wisdom in union, then this becomes the very essence of the Buddha's teachings. So therefore, these two are very important indeed. That's it.
대드 남주다 만세 킹그레스라 아니 아주 더 남산지 위치 디나니 태버친 위치 제온디 아니 잔죽 샘세 공고그레스다 라 당한주 용다다 단 보디체다슬라운디 참마기다 짜침부 쇼지 레스라고라 더디 자와디 닌지 차기어레스 닌지 제와 닌지 세디 차고레스 다지 닌지 제와 디베 남주 뎀비 제와 라 야오롱치 참전 독송보다 다지 남주 뎀비 제와 용야라야 아니 남주 풀도 총하지 그래서 시럽 위즈드다 백케션 뭐다디 용야라야 최 남기 내룩라야 제니 아니 드로마투나 아니 시럽 약수도 용구요 말레스 다최 남기 내룩 된 치마치지디 가니 송구요레스 라바나 아니 시럽님 분이 송구요레스 라다 셰럽님 분이 시에비 최 남기 내룩 통위기 남주도 여바나 다 원내게 했더니 아니 풀도 총위기 따제와다 아니 잔주쌤 다 고남에비기 잔주쌤 됐더니 아니 끼투구요레스
So in general, most likely most of you know already, but in Buddhism, and in particular Mahayana Buddhism, we regularly meditate and reflect on bodhicitta, this mind of enlightenment, because it is well known and was considered very precious indeed. But the root of bodhicitta is this mind of compassion, yeah. But the type of compassion is actually utilized with our wisdom, our discrimination. His Holiness the Dalai Lama mentions this regularly. Yeah? So if that compassion is conjoined with wisdom, then we need to understand what that wisdom is, and that is the realizing the very nature of our reality. So where is that description being shown? Where is that described, the nature of our reality? Now that is coming from the Heart Sutra. It's described in the Heart Sutra. So if we have a good understanding, we can develop our wisdom, our intelligence. And on that basis, we're able to cultivate our own compassion. And this is the very best type, really unsurpassable type of compassion that we can generate. And on that basis, generate our mind of enlightenment or bodhicitta. That's it.
terda dinza bena 자원인지 첨보세 디시온디 아니 자원인지 첨보세가 로디 응로데 간다지리스 라운디 동하르단 잔두기 삼바치 라 동하르다 잔두기 삼바치 에 로디 응디 딘디 차기요레스 라만주 아 딘디 차기요레스 단디 베나 아니 셴라 파테네로 소소 마임피타 셴라 파테네 아니 셴 동아드 잔도기 삼바텔라 아니 쪼다 택바 침비 쇼니 셰비 제와 인지 첨부세 디차근도 왔어. 디차근도 왔어.
So, for example, great compassion. What is this mind of great compassion? What is its nature? So it is a wish that wishes others to be free or separated from suffering. Yeah. So for example, that mind is actually dependent on others, not dependent on oneself, but is dependent on others. The wishing for the other to be separated from suffering. So this is what is described in the Mahayana texts and books. 맞습니다.
더디니 소소라니까 미니 동안의 단독이 somebody 용곡으로 왔어. 이거로 왔어. 지당 안줄래야다. 아니 랑이 동안 문디비 로직도 요르다이네. 동안 그 단독이 삼바. 오늘 다 동안 피기다. 아니 근데 덴바시나니 셰비다. 근데 차원두시기 동안을 써봐. 대다 단독이 somebody nganzo rang lengila yon thug marwasro pena phumbu dungar we rangin res labaina ani anzo samlo shir chabuj madana rani phumbu dungar we rangin res labaina ani mi lola shung marwasro.
So yes, we can consider not only others, but oneself as well. So it's not to forget about oneself and our wish to be free from suffering. This is something that we must consider. Yeah, we consider and we wish for ourselves to be free from suffering. And this is described in the presentation on the Four Noble Truths, for example, when one is discussing about the all-pervasive suffering, whereas it is described that our physical aggregates and our psychophysical aggregates are actually in the very nature of suffering. But if we do not think deeper about the nature of this suffering, then it might feel, this concept may feel a little bit uncomfortable for you. 맞습니다.
대다 phumbu dungar we rangin badi ani samlo tangbala kyawan duji dungar imba samlo tangbala thongwala thong thobala ani chomden dini shebita dembashi namsha kirambadi yakbuji majang baina shindun gal khawres rangi phumbu dungar we rangin imba tindi dungar we rangin dia pe ani chi kharsota chi gyoda kyanla deni chong imba gyugen te zu ani da rangi ani kharso rangyu gi nyumba ta ani legi pacha shabal deni chong imba la sob nizu din thonya la ani namje yabuji mena ra sherab yabuji mewana thongthug marwas tinza namje sherab yabuji yobana and di gyoda ke kandrajile deni chong yoba dunga garansin kandrajin kyo yoba 용 수조본 통유 토니 dunga teda chandu sambaji kiebana di sewa di ani namje dembi sewa singi chagores rangla mi bi sewa rojreda da ro rangi ani tindri dunga gyoda chebale thawon debi sambadi ani sherab gutobji gyunsen 통유 gutobji tindri sambaji kiebana ani rangla sebi sewa di ben namje da dembi sewa di chagores 딘지기 세워디 아니 미션라바 숨진 샹라바 카페바이나 다디 태버침비 쇼니 셰비 아니 남주의 덴비 세워닌지 첨보세야디 디차가도 왔어라.
So if we come to understand the explanation that our body is its nature is in suffering. In particular, this all-pervasive type of suffering that is mentioned in the Four Noble Truths presentation. But if one does not study, one does not reflect on this presentation on the Four Noble Truths, it'll be actually very difficult to grasp why our bodies, our psychophysical aggregates are in the nature of suffering. Yeah? So because they are dependent on causes and conditions, then and our emotional disturbing afflictions, our afflictive emotions, and due to our karma, yeah, then due to these causes and conditions, then the nature of suffering arises within our psychophysical aggregates, yeah. But if we do not study and reflect about this and use our own intelligence, then we will not come to see this actual situation. And we will not be able to understand the great complexity in its entirety of the causes and conditions that are present. Yeah. But if we're able to reflect and look at this situation, then we'll understand the suffering nature of these aggregates. And then on this basis, we'll be able to generate a sense of self-love, self-compassion. And then on that basis, the focusing on oneself, but then we'll be able to turn that around and put our focus onto others and understand their situation and generate that mind of love and compassion that is rooted in that wisdom and understanding. Nasula.
디마도 당한주 ngaran 소소소 라야 제와 요리 소소 둥가 다 잔데 요리 소소레 둥가 되기요 말에 다 딘디 둥가 문제 바디 소소레 둥가 문제 바디 균전데 체네 다지 착당게 온도 송바이나 아니 둥가 망 소야지 마도 라 둥가 뇽직 자원이니다 아 소투고 요 말아왔어 단다 봐도 소투고 요 말아왔어 단다 봐도 간줄에 둥가 문제비 somebody yours 개와 톡만 매버니 간줄에야 둥가 문제비 somebody yours 임바이나 둥가 문제비 somebody 토니 간주 둥가데 타투 your스나 자원이네 타투 요 말아왔어 디 가르에서나 샘 착당 거 송바인자 디 코네레 마도 셴바 카야 말아왔어 라 다 단다 아니 류덴 딘디질레 아니 지 아니 추 사몬 딘디질레 체비 갑둘라 호타 바다 첸로 리버 짐니 데니 다 산지 좀 된디 랍자 투수 톨레야 랍 투바이나 아니 마홈바 자치 자탐바 둥가데 체비 따지 텐두 데버 토비야기 아니 제와 잡초고레스 제와 요레스 로
So we need to consider our oneself with love and compassion. And we do have this wish to be free from suffering. We don't want to experience any type of discomfort or suffering. But until now, even though we do have this wish to be free from discomfort and suffering, but due to our attachment and hatred, then even though we have the wish, we're not separating ourselves from that suffering, yeah? So we've had the wish, this wish to be free from suffering from beginningless time, for a long time, but due to our attachments and anger, then we're not able to experience a separation from that suffering, yeah? But now that we've met with the teachings of the Buddha and we've met with profound instructions and advice, then as much as one is able to, then we'll be able to practice and put into a practice, that advice that is being given by the Buddha's teachings. And then on that basis, in the future, we have the hope to experience lasting, stable happiness. Lasula.
어디를 딘자 다 nganzu karsorda 문두기 동화저라다 문두기 동화디 사와디 마리바레스 마리발덴디다 아샤샤당 컨트롤 서비스 샘티 왕기다 아니 동화 용구여레스 디다 디 가드는 아주 삼고야지라다로 아니 디 삼로 야고 땅바나레 소소레야직 되자샤당기 로디 가지 여바 디츠기 nganzolaya makibajimato ani kibaji yungyo marasra tachi ani chokchila chak chokchila dami somebody yobana ani dada nyese teni ani chamanyim bigi ro ani tonsul mambu shochi legi yorada ro dada nyingi be ani chamandini ani shoji yongde di ani yudini truyo mares 점는데 있어다 yudini truyo mares 아니 소수기 아니 남도 그 서버레스 난 근데 소수라니 이겨라 아니 내가 세단 디무송기 상도도 자원이는 매나 숙간지 인케랑 자차가 말레스 디자차 자다 말레스로 자차 자다 말레스 난도 상담하네 감라 세비 로여서 디 소수 자차가 문도 강라 술을 재워야는 디 수수 년차거든. 디 다지 바이나 년 소야 규긴디 텔 재비 로지게 바이나 뭐만 랑기 다이 바이나 아니 텔 재비 로지 온디 수수 년차 용도 왔어. 아니 수수 년 바이나야 텔 다음이 로 텔 마가 로지 온디 다차거든 왔어. 마도 유코랑 뭐는 담번에 다다 년 주메와디 세우세잖아 왔어.
So the very root of these unwanted experiences of suffering and discomfort is really based in our confusion, our ignorance. Yeah. So you've got the afflictive emotions of attachment and hatred, but also this confusion or ignorance. So this mind of ignorance that is with the attachment and hatred, then however much we have these disturbing emotions, then that much we will be experiencing a mind of unhappiness. Yeah. So we can take, for example, these feelings of being close to people and distant from other people. So we can see that this mind that considers others as an enemy or somebody that we consider close, then we can see that this mind itself is something that is biased. Yeah. So it considers some people as distinguished as close and distant. But these characteristics of close and distant are not actually established from the side of the object itself. Now, the Buddha Shakyamuni expressed that the way that we perceive those objects is not established in the side of the object, but it's actually established by our own conceptions. Yeah. So if we were free from attachment, hatred, and ignorance, then no form, no object we would perceive them as our enemy. For this, we can be very certain about. Yeah. So, but if we, for take example, we have an enemy, but if we view them with love, then we perceive them as a close friend. And then vice versa, if we take a friend, but we perceive them with a mind of hatred, then they become the enemy. So you can see that the mind itself It's something that is coloring the object itself. This is very clear. Masula.
tirda kanji suzulaya ani dra songhengi ro and namju thobu yakbu jimba na kaukalaya dra chabra jara dra dan gyudra jara dan gyudra di gyujin la ten gyurgora ro gyud ken la ten dra dan gyurgora ti gyujin khar res laundi gyujin shamba khan yo mares ro gyujin shamba ani dra so shanghengi chi ani chilola methakjore las ro rangi semni rangi sem nani ani yoji toni pigi midi suzu draso dos daro tinganzu ngeborde daro ngeborde somdang go yajres.
So anyway, we think that the thing or the process that makes our enemy, this is due to causes and conditions. It is not the external object of an enemy that is creating our perception of enemy, but it is our own minds that creates this perception of an enemy. So this is something that is very important that we must consider and look at.
Teza dang anzu yujinchik suzu da tawa mintumbi yunzen cheni ani maga lo ta mangbu yungo arasra suzu tawa nanshin suzu deba nanshin ji machi di ani maga lo kigi yoras ta dikki go chona pesak saras ra suzu da tawa mintumbi yunzen cheni ani suzu gi karso ta ji maga sa go chola shago chomba and the pesak sashas when nganda wachi chasha bana ngan ni chozol deni ani ngarang da tawa mentena chama nga magasa shago chona peshi gyaja gupchu khogudi ngada magasa shaju kesara wasra kasan gyaja gupchu khog ngada tawa thong mondos chamusha bana nga khareresna ngone thane ta chigdo deni ta sanju 좀 된데리 학도는 장관람 zon가버치 몰라야 다 찍도 대바샤지 아니 장관람 zon가버치 송텔이야 지금 냠내지 제투바이나 디 딩이 따와레스 딩이 삼소리 니 란쇼 티레스 이번에 민망치하게 디 지금 알아왔어 디 마제바이나야 다디 아니 디지 용이야기 탑시 제거야 디 니 랭게를 모두 디 나도 따와 문팀이 윤센지 나 마가서 제바이나 아니 주존될 용이 민망치야디 나도 마가서 차 고해로지 차기도 왔어 디 말이스 로 델 용인기 야차 굽주 고구디 네기 갈수 왔다 가오진 되기스 다 야자 야타 말라나 패시 디기링아 미드로 민딩알 마가서 인세 나 키메스 나 참고로야 가오치기스 다운트문도 시야바나 오늘 다운트문도 세라 잘못시야바나
So here we have when we discuss about the causes and conditions here, then those causes and conditions are something that are really looking at the way that we generate our perception. Yeah. So, but for example, if we meet with somebody that does not share the same view or does not share the same wishes that one has, then instantly our reaction is to dislike that other person. Yeah. But for this reason, there is really no need to dislike the other person. And if we do in this way, it's really not very beneficial. Yeah. So for example, Geshe takes himself Then arriving at the Chinrezig Institute at this Dharma Center, the most likely that most people will not have the exact same view or the exact same wishes as what Geshe himself expresses here. So most likely that this is the case, 99%. So because Geshe himself, he is a follower of the Buddha, and in particular, a follower of the great master Lama Tsongkhapa. He has deep faith in these things and follows the practices of these Lama Tsongkhapa and these great masters. Yeah. So, and this is Geshe's view, Geshe's wishes. Yeah. But then whenever Geshe meets with other people, all other people might not have this view, and most likely they do not have these views. But then Geshe sees that that is no reason to dislike them. Yeah. So Geshe can most honestly say that most likely people do not have the same sentiment, but he realizes that there is no need for creating a mind of dislike on this basis. Let's do that.
제드니 nganzu taun tunggu mares mirila samluri yanza taun tunggu mares ro taun montumba junsen cheni ani da sogyumundos ro nganzu chambuchi degu dos ro mitsetun tong de nalo la ya ani mishanda chambuchi debaina kibures ro nganzu lega chebaina lega diabun rubures ro nganzu chikchila ya magawa ta ani nganzu chikchila ya chogri ta 아니 두신 대대바이나 간지 소수 메시드 톨라레스 로 소수 메시드 톨라레스
So if we have different views, we have different likes, then that is no reason to develop a disliking towards the other person, because we know that our lives are short and it's important to make our lives meaningful and useful. So as we go about our activities and work, if we're generating this kind of disliking amongst one and other, then this becomes a very biased mind, a very difficult mind. And really, if we live our entire lives like that, then our lives will be wasted. That's it.
데다 아니 니기 타발랑쇼 세나문도 삼로디 타 원이 장고랑 정가바 준비 손티기 들려야데 지금 로존 제토바나 다 야차 야탄바 아니 다 펜도요레스 로 간스나 당인 데비 학돈도 단 데비 로추 사지르는 당이 쇼지 아니 나랑 남주 메나마도 아니 게 삼로타니 아니 장고랑 통과 버침비 고송 투송기 연댕이 돌아야 아니 삼로탄바이스 로 가드이는 게다 제롬치려야 소았다 믹스마장 안 제롬치 손투솔로 안 삼로탄 아니 소수 마시나 아니 메셴발라 깨제티도 수준 좋은디 아니 domdawdi karelegi duslandi sanji chomden di zambalindela pebni gomba nyangilin de sawi jela sanji chomden di temba yonsu zobati ngoni ani karsorda ta tsama shu chikpe nyamlin chedang rimba korumdan demba 아니 지금 도당가 용수 줘봐 강사 찍비 창계비 남기름발에 계단기다 찍마 거름 드당다마 아니 가와 매버 세우친으로 딱 간지 용수 줘봐 챙인디 제르무지마도 조문도스 니로 니 트브든로디 딘통고도스 로 당이 니 딘통고도스 딘정이다 제르무치 쇼츠아치 모레샤스 먼저 제롬지 송따고 도세기 니 균신 디시자니 아니 쇼위마다 연직 생고소를 싸우니는 맨스 로
Shenko.
촉신
Choshendi. Yeah, that's it.
초그리 지금에스
Chore. So if we look at the view that I have or Geshe has, then this view or perspective is really coming from the position of the teachings given by Lama Tsongkhapa. Lama Tsongkhapa is really very scholar and practitioner, and he thinks that during this time that Geshe has been here at Chidrasic about 10 years or so, then he's had this time to reflect on the good qualities of the body, speech, and mind of the great master Lama Tsongkhapa. And then over this period, he's had many discussions with people about the qualities of Lama Tsongkhapa. He's had the opportunity to question and receive answers about Lama Tsongkhapa. And he's really come to the conclusion that since the Buddha Shakyamuni has given teachings, but then also achieved parinirvana or passing away, since that time until now, there has really been no one other than the great master Lama Tsongkhapa that has given such concise teachings on the Sutra and Tantra that are without contradiction. Yeah. And in particular, the methods, the stages that are practical in order to reach the state of enlightenment. And Geshe feels that only the great master Lama Tsongkhapa is sharing this in such a concise and contradictory free way. Yeah. So for this on this basis, for this reason, then Geshe regards great master Lama Tsongkhapa as being very precious. Yeah. And he feels that this is a very unbiased approach. 맞습니다.
아주 되게 글쎄
롱코?
photos. This is Lama Tsongkhapa's stories.
Vale. So the images that are around the ceiling is the Lama Tsongkhapa's life stories.
다 되게 탕가져라. 탕가도 배 공부하셨어. 탕가도 배 공부하셨어. 가서 탕가 쫑아 열어.
Vale.
탕가 쫑아. 다 탕가 쫑아도 다 샹고 쫑나. 약보지 샹고 쫑다. 로송 첨부 쉬우 열어. 로송 첨부 쉬우 열어서 아무도서 샹도 나 니마 샹샤죠. 탕가 찍니지도. 다 딥파르기야니. 안도스 단잠불라 꼬라기야데서. 오늘 탕가디 and big compressions. Big compressions. That any reta jig dancer chamber dozolaya any tanga yung ninyong isares. Ninyong. That jawar mo jig samshala jig doa.
So these images, they are images or prints of the there's 15 great tankas, and in fact the actual painted tankas are something very rare, and if they were to be commissioned, they'd be actually very expensive. But these images that you see are actually images of very rare tankas. Yeah. So but people or somebody has gone to the places where those rare tankas are and taken in a photograph of those rare images. And Geshe believes that those tankas are actually in the residence of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. That's right.
Then the imaging is Shangardas. Imaging Tangada Shangaras.
So maybe one day Geshe would like to put the painted tankas in place of these images.
Then the Kolhabzo Pekera Shuja, Latin Yakushuja, Payil Dever, could that could Nami Koran, Giba Koran, any 아니 그 빠웨 무릎 배시 뉴스사지 규바 영역 라티바죠 라팅이죠 아니 콜링이 계지 팀바 당한서 저번 안자진 계시 왔다스라 콜링이 계지 팀 그가라 아리고모 아니 동장 앞중행아 제바이나 그 상고스 그 겐케고스 아
레레 탕크레레
뭐뭐 탕가 참아 탕가 좀
알랭오
아니 그 상고사
어스레샤
어드라다 깨기라고 채워진다
So Geshe was is aware of a very famous tanker painter that is in Nepal, and this tanker painter has is in a lineage, a generational lineage of father and son, where they create the hand painted art. So for many generations that they've been painting these tankers, yeah. So Geshe was able to ask or has understood that if one was to commission the full set of the tankers, then it will cost about $5,500 US.
5,500
$5,500 yen. Boom, don't charge long. They como katsu US dollar katsu.
good 55,000 US dollar.
Yeah, 55 ponda.
55,000 US dollar.
Allez, then so $55,000. Yeah, that's a little bit more. Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah. Like Carson, the Ngandelero, the Ngandelero. I think 2017, and I the Lamrum retreat, Lamrum course, and tending on the Lamrum course sarni, and then didn't choose the junior sound. The tongue make it big love kevila Kalasaga Dora. Kalasaga Drodi, and the Lamrum course 용행기 포사지 그 민디 제시 포사 디 칼라사사 ngazzaleni geshila nga kherang ji te yesa debji te yelasra debji te yesa koran yayasle an ko debdi modern la ye ko lenga do isa kungala an ko chinsora deblenga chulle ondi debchembu paksido very big book and it 카춘 체념도 직속 조단안에 순 직속 동구도 플라스틱 역사기 아니 코랑아 칼라스나 데브디 야부임비 레바이스 공알라 그 카치 마뇽사 데브디 카리임 카치 마뇽라스 아니 이 칼라스는 야 용샤라 용니 아니 데브디 카치임바 데브디 카치디 데브디 아니 라마충가바 스토리스 레샤 로디 디 탕가 참마로 이게 나로라야 아니 꾸춘주 다도 드서 참마로 사자 만드라와 아니 라야 아니 로마 만드라와 춘디디 소레스 라마 쭝가 갑디디 곰디겨레 아니 사잔 디니 페나 예담 도지 지지 샤스여레 사잔 디니 지준 잠비 양게 샤스여 딘디 디소 참마 페디 세부슈 치 서치니 뎁로 뎁 셴부슈지 서셔로 어디가 라송스라 디나로란 디 탕가 쫑아 아니 par sama yores the inji tone ti or pe tone ti tenji tebi aguchi enganzo lamram kos tsawada ani mijingal titesons tinza ni samnala ya tangi nyamachila lamachunga bagi tin lord yuge ani chunga jachu tanga chi mashanada jig maso sambi sorwaji yores ngala 담에도 ngagi ngi ta project mang thasa sevi yores nimbaina ya nanzu mashi badu drogo 그러왔어 아니 가주스기 야구 차와네 야구가 타메 반자 아니 drogo 그러왔어
So Geshe arriving here about 2017 when there was a lab rip or the graduated stages twilight but course at the time. Afterwards, after that course was finished one of the days, then they went to the Big Love Cafe for lunch at 12 noon. Yeah. And at that time, there was a young man that approached Geshe. Geshe has forgotten the name of this man, but he said to Geshe, I have something to give to you. I have a very big book. It's in the back of my car. I'll go and get it for you. So Geshe said, okay, thanks. And when the young man came back, then Geshe saw that the large book had never been opened. It was still wrapped in its original plastic. And the young man said to Geshe, I really do hope that this is a good book, but it had never been opened. Yeah. So now Geshe, finishing his lunch, went back to his room and he opened this book and he saw that the big book was actually about the stories of the great master Lama Tsongkhapa, and it actually depicted the where the places that Lama Tsongkhapa taught him, the places that Lama Tsongkhapa meditated in, and the described about how there were visions of Vajrapani and other meditational deities that Lama Tsongkhapa experienced here. So there's also a description. You can see that there are small statues and images, and it's described in detail what these images were. So this is the content of that book, and it was actually described in English and also Tibetan. So Geshe received this book after the Lamrim course had finished. So Geshe feels that he feels sort of uncomfortable that if he didn't get these stories that are depicted in the tankas about Lama Tsongkhapa, if he didn't get them commissioned at one stage or another. Maybe some people say, man, there's just too many projects that Geshe wants to complete. But because the benefit is limitless, and beings are limitless, then it's good to make these plans. That's
애들다 간주 시에 조디 디마르다스 애들 최송 버레스 저 최는다 당가 지당 서로 농부 여반자 디간의 셔샤와라 조조디 가르스나 라마 중가 봐 강송도 딩간주 럽종 제디 기치시드레스 저 라마 중가 봐 강송바디 럽종 지원디 베나다 동반이 거시온디 동반이 거시온디 아니 지베 람네마 Rilam Gton, Gunsen Gton, and a con tuxadi, and a gary kibi song. Then so and it's in Gomulu Yapsilla Sobatan, Pandan Dawatava Yapsilla Sobi, Shonla ya Contuya, Penelaya Shevan, Jizun Jambian Laya, Be any Manzuma Shesamashin that Domba the Domba Tuni, Gage teaching, any and Tombani got 10 la Paushabi, any Shon, any Chishu Jiggy, any 대부가 요레스 로 동반인 걸 장이지만 다 딜 장바 장투바나 원에 동반이 똑투 그레스 로 아니 딜다 어딘디 장다 데 장마 요레스 간지 장마 쇼지 베나 아니 라마 중가 봐 아니 벽이 라마 지리 벽이 라마 지리 라마 중가 봐 마중 공 별이야 아니 최근 시험바 참마 축차요레스 라마 망부 쇼지 라마 중가 보고 라마 망치야디 라마 따 라마 ngosu비 라마 디 아니 벽 라마 잔자레스 벽 라마 도저 샤블 또니 남산지 위 최장 대한 장색이 비 장시도디 아니 지 펜드 줍딩 거 송라야 장 아니 드비온디길 라 드온디 지준 잠비야 드브진 지준 잠비야 샤르무스 시니 아니 토틀레 마부제 아니 지준 잠비야 타마들려야 돼 차랑 주고 콘투스디 아니 산지 좀 된데 랑급에 론된 샤비기 아니 공불로주당 파바토메다 반된 다와 트라벌 소비 아니 쇼라 장니 아니 탁제 쇼스니 지진 잠비양 무스까 듣나 여반자 아니 제로무직 송망 제나라야 콩뚱온디 벽 라미 쇼 송도서 마무 ढंग मारेस ग्याचा दमासुना ग्याचा गुप्चु थांबदी ग्यागरी खेबी सो सांजी चमदेंदी सो क्यांजां खोंतुनी जेशी ग्यावियोरेस
Any shun, don't Nicola, any shun na.
송 도슬라 산지기 송 아니 벤루고 송래야 송세고라
Let's
나 지고 말해
let's then lamsun kapegi pula yuju any pepe laba dezo any this shum yure
대수고
shuk make you
대수고 송 샤교기 대비어라
음.
대수도 장여되네요 라무sun가 코랑 송마 지온디 아니 콘뚝사저라 콘뚝선 하고라
하고서
어디 아니 베베 라메 숑 레 콘뚝에 빈뇽레스 야차 고추 탐바디 갸가르 키비 송레 콘뚝 요레스 주전 잠비양 그 송바인자
let's So our discussion that we just mentioned is we've just deviated a little from our main topic, but Geshe had a very strong feeling and he wanted to share that with you. But what we're getting back to the main topic is mentioning about the great master Lama Tsongkhapa, and in particular the teachings that the Lama Tsongkhapa gave in terms of the presentation on emptiness. So emptiness is really described through the basis of reason and logic. And the great master Lama Tsongkhapa has condensed a lot of the teachings and explanations that were given by the Indian scholars, the Indian masters, such as Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, Asanga, and so on. Yeah. So Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa was somebody that was able to discuss with Manjushri face to face, have a question and answer session, so to speak. So because during the time of Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa, the Tibetan teachers, they do not have a strong number or a high number of explanations or texts, and therefore the Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa referred to the source texts of the Indian scholars such as Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti and so on. So drawing on these sources of the great Nalanda scholars, then the great Master Lama Tsongkhapa was able to actually clarify any doubts with in discussion with Manjushri. Yes, so in the discussion of Manjushri, but then also then he drew on these sources directly from what the Buddha spoke about as well. So not only drawing from the Indian scholars, but also drawing from sources directly from the Buddha himself. Yeah. So Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa, even though himself was a Tibetan, the texts that he wrote were really drawing on those original sources. Lasula.
어디를 다 간지 다디나 수 돌디온디 아니 잔주고 셈다 아니 동반이 또 셰르 이드레스 들어와 다 송야 참말로 수 돌디온디 디니 톨라야 아니 밥고도 왔어 다 잔주고 셈 용야라야 심전 탐지기 체도 베는 산지 공반지 토부기 인삼비기 로디 깨발라야 담보 심전 탐지 동안들 지마로 냠비기 samlodi yonggo das simjan tamje dunga da tan chi maro nyambi samlodi yongye la ya ani pigi soso rangi dunga da tan chi maro nyambi samlo de da ngebar de gogros soso dunga da tan chi maron nyambi lo ki mutungengi kansa chila ani ninji da chanju sem lojong sem yongya zawni yo mares 다 소소 라니 동가 다잖아 치마로 냠비 로 양 타바지 용야야 소소 동가 나르츠티 동가 기차와 마리바다 데차 샤당 콘트로 나게 착돌로 소비 르 징치니 동가야 나르츠디 신고요레스 디 심바체발라 마리바디게 간르징 안주 마리비 드부요메티 마리비 안주 간르지니 pe wandu du yoba di tongu yores mari bi wandu du yoba di tongwala ya ani nelu la shinju lo du shubi lo du mari barawas di wandu du wa tongwala ya ani chö namgi nelu tongu yores tomba nin se kechenbu shu song de di chö namgi nelu de she yore di tongu yores da kanji dire shasro.
So in brief, we discussed about the mind of enlightenment of bodhicitta and the wisdom that is realizing emptiness. These two are really the indispensable. Yeah. So this mind of enlightenment, the thought that wishes all sentient beings to be free from suffering, and for the purpose I myself will achieve enlightenment, then we need to first cultivate the thought that it is not suitable or appropriate that even one sentient being must experience suffering. Yeah. So, but in order to cultivate that thought, then one must understand one's own mode of suffering. Yeah. So this mind of compassion and generating this mind of enlightenment of bodhicitta is we really need to, if we want to correctly or in a very high quality way generate this type of mind, then we must understand the very root of suffering. Yeah? So that root of suffering, the mind that is really chained or bound by this ignorance, then we must understand this situation. So we must understand that our mind is under the control of this mistaken apprehension, which is this ignorance here, the mistaken apprehension of the true nature of reality. Yeah? So this is what we need to really understand and develop this understanding of emptiness also. That's it.
Terda diza tanganzu jida ta zambali nalola ya netur kanga nganzu tanda 통구 열어서 netur 통구 열에 아니 nganzu 대화지 고구 열에 동안 되고요 말에 대치디 직 아니 니마니마기 대기 소리 직 라바이나 아니 람상 디코란 텐디니 단 로댕에 망부슈 열어서 라 디기 아니 다 랍체비기 디기지 준투요 말이지 다 산지 좀 된디게 랍샤 시샤 제바나 디기 그냥 오늘이 부장 림부다 땐도 대화지 주투요 말이지 부장 림부 땐도 대화지 주고요 바나 아니 오늘이 따지 아니 롭종도 마선나 개체사기 내가 체슈 롭종 때려야 배준치니 리버좀 제고도 와서 어떠지 아니 니마니마 기부 용야 소와 기부 용야 소리질이야 샘 공코는 로데바이나 아니 간주기 마리바세야단 도차 콘트롤 나게 타도세야디 자와니니 메버소투요 마리스 딩간주 이짐이 샘을 샤우다 디산 아니 셴게 망부여레 드라마드 땡게 망부여레 네거 소와 기부 용야 수부 대부 용야 아니 샘라야 지 인사보 용야 딘디 요르데이나야 딘디라 자원이니 당 고코르 닝금도 왔어라 잠부시야나 딜랑 고코바나 메시지 두 조도야 닝가지도 왔어라 다 개체슈텔이야 당 안주 남바산지바 인세월에 남바산지바 인바이나 수진주를 좀 된디게 진주라라 좀 된디게 진주는 좀 된디게 쪼 가르송도 디 코란 돌이야 리버드림 자야리 마도 아니 요츠비 셰디 년 로데바나 야스자다 뭐 디수 코란 당가 말레스
So in general, we can see in our world, the situation that our world is in, that we all desire happiness and we do not want to experience suffering. And on a daily basis, we make effort and put a lot of energy into acquiring and working with this situation. But finding that deeper level or more profound level of happiness, long-term happiness, then this is very difficult to find in this daily life. So if we are looking for that long-term, lasting, stable happiness, then we must put effort into our studies and our reflection. But we must make that effort, but using our own reasoning and our own logic. Whereas if we go about our daily business on every day, then if we are allowing those afflictive emotions such as attachment, anger, and so forth, then really we'll and using that, looking to gain that happiness, then actually we'll be deceived because the happiness is very short-lived and very temporary. So there are many teachers, there are many opportunities that people are sharing their knowledge, saying that I know how to give you happiness, or explaining about physical well-being and happiness. But if there's rooted with this attachment, hatred, and afflictive emotions, then we can spend our entire lifetime but not receive that lasting happiness. We've used up all of our life being deceived. So if we consider ourselves a Buddhist, then who are we following? We are following the Buddha Shakyamuni, and the Buddha himself explained and guided the followers that we must use our reason and logic. And if we study and reflect, then really there wouldn't be enough time to cover all that needs to be looking and that we need to regard and think about. That's all.
Reda nyumung sengidira manzuta marigba decha kontrong argela sobeta nyumung di zawad marigba res ra nilu laya mombi marigba nguyu netsulaya shinjulo do shooting lodi marigba res ra ta dig zawachi ta dindig lodi ani 가리기 매바 소투 그랬을 라운지 내룩 통이 로 다가랑 매바 소고르마도 로 셴바 강기자 잘라 셴바 강기자로 아니 베나다 대산 소고라단 잠블리 베나 까마지나 토르투야 베나 바르제 토수 임바야나야 마리바 매바 소투 마레스 라 마리바 토르투 마레 하고서 토르투고 마레스 마리바 매바 소투니 찌여바디 아니 내룩 통이 로드레스 denza neluk thome neluk thela ya samul tawndi ani rigpa shuji dim go dara ung ge tamba du neluk den yons so khond chu denga du neluk den kanda shigdu an dela ja an di thon so su rigpa dim so su level page tan samul tawndi ani nimachil jase jada man neluk dara thya jingo res neluk ra thawndi den kerang samnal yebi maribi lodi tening ga thugo yores dara 대마도 탑시 강기장 가토고 말했어. 내 산이 좀 된데 다 째는 송요랬어.
So these afflictive emotions such as attachment, hatred, anger, jealousy, pride, and so on, the very root of all of these afflictive emotions is this mind of ignorance, the mind that has mistakenly perceive the true nature of reality. Yeah. So what is the thing that will remove this ignorance? Yeah. So even if there is a bomb or a very strong weapon, it can wipe out the entire earth, but is unable to remove or destroy our ignorance. Yeah. So, and this is something that is really obscuring our entire mind, this confusion or ignorance. Whereas the Buddhist Shakyamuni laid out very clearly and very firmly that if we learn reasoning, we learn certain lines of logic, then we'll be able to remove this confusion by generating the mind that is realizing the true nature of reality. So by understanding what those logical statements are and so on, then we'll be able to directly oppose that mind of confusion or that mind of ignorance. That's all.
Is this Shangbe?
Shall we leave it here? If you have 1 or 2 questions, you're welcome to share them. Oh, there's one.
Jason, please.
Thank you, Geshe. I just wanted to ask about the weekend with the Bodhisattva teachings. I'm just wondering if you will consider giving the Bodhisattva vows.
So Geshe ni the Bodhisattva ki songchu kapla ni dompa ni nang himpe. So nobody until now has asked me to confer the Bodhisattva vows. So this is just a tradition that in general one must be requested to give vows, or in general one must be requested to give teachings. So if there, after the weekend has concluded, and if there are people that are really showing a special interest, then it would be likely that it would be okay to give those vows afterwards.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Geshe.
Thank you.
Final Lamrim prayer, page 12. From my 2 types of merits vasa space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a grand length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all life's Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted boundless peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this graded path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtues practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. Thank you.